So I will, this is going to be my 50 sub special, and this is going to be what if Deku was part Ellen. These humanoid creatures come from the Marvel universe. And this isn't going to be like a Marvel My Hero, like a complete Marvel My Hero Academia. I'm saying, like, there's another YouTuber that did a what if Deku was like Kryptonian, but he had it to where like the Kryptonians existed within the My Hero Academia universe. Like none of the other species or stuff are going to like really exist in this universe. Like it's just these are the Deku's ancestor, who is an Ellen, is the last of his kind. Like his species died of just were dying out from a natural disaster, and he finds like another sentient life forms within close proximity of his planet, and he basically moves there. And then as he approaches, he notices that he doesn't look at them, but like there's these things called quirks that exist in the world, and they have abilities and powers. So Ellens are these extremely powerful psionic characters. So what they can do is like they can manipulate matter at a molecular level. And no, I'm not going to give Deku this. Like he's going to have a watered down version of these of the Ellen's abilities. So this last surviving Ellen in the entire universe that we know of. And there may be some like pure-blooded ones that show up from time, that will show up like then kind of be like a main antagonist to like Deku throughout like his lifetime, like in his later years and stuff. So that being said, this lone survivor, at least he believes he's the only one left in the universe. And he finds an inhabitable world that has a sentient life on it, and he decides to go there and to like live out the remainder of his days. And we'll say Ellen's because there's no information like in the Marvel comics about like what this species like lifespan is. So I'm just going to give them like their normal lifespan is like 150 years. Like that's their normal life. Like 150, 200 years is their normal lifespan. Their species lives between 150 to 200. Like you're basically you're basically getting into like your elder years when you reach 150 with this species. So that being said, this last Ellen, he notices that this intelligent species doesn't look like him. So he uses his immense psionic abilities to turn his body into somewhat looking like these humans, earthlings, like to make him sort of look like everyone. But he can't completely do that. So he is going to look like this. One moment while I pause. He's going to somewhat look like this, but with more human features. Like he's going to have like slightly discolored like facial features. Like his skin color is going to be slightly discolored. It's going to be slightly green. His eyes are going to be kind of bug-like, but like they're going to look very similar to like a human's eyes. He, instead of having five digits or 3 digits, he has 4, so he has like 3 regular fingers and an opposable thumb. And his feet are going to look somewhat like a normal human's. So he like manipulates his body to somewhat look like these things, but he can't do an exact match. And he's getting like up there in the years and everything. So he's like about, I would say he's about 130. Like, he's not like old yet, but he's getting up there. So he lands his ship, and like it's basically out of fuel and everything. So he basically dismantles it, because Ellens are renowned to be pacifist. Besides this fellow here, he's been known as the Ellen Terror, or Baby Terror, or something like that. And I pulled this photo off of the wiki page about this guy. And this species normally is like 10 foot tall. So basically he passes this off as a mutation quirk. He's able to get his height down to like 6'8", 6'9", so he's not freakishly large compared to like this species. So he makes his body as close to a human as he can, but he still like has these powers at the same degree that he normally would, like in his original body. So he's going around, and we're going to say Izuku's going to be like a quarter Ellen, and he's going to be 75% human, because this Ellen, like, he runs into this woman, and he basically falls in love with this earth woman. And when he initially got to the planet, he was like 120, so his ship had like cloaking technology and everything, because he wanted to observe these people. And he noticed that they have like, they're not perfect. They can be pretty barbaric and everything, but there are a lot of them that are noble and everything. And he decides to like choose this planet to like, so he wants to spend it with like at least someone his last remaining years. And if he doesn't have like a mate or not, like he could care less about that. So he just wants to be around other life, because his world's gone. For all he knows, he's the last one of his kind. And he had spent like 40 of his years, so he was like 90 when his homeworld blew up, and he spent 30 years searching the cosmos for any of his own kind, and he couldn't find any. So he came across Earth in his travels, and he decided to stop because he noticed that the planet was inhabited by a sentient species and everything. And after 10 years, he decides to like, okay, well, there's none of me left. Well, maybe I can kind of engross myself in this species, so that like they don't make this kind of like help develop them into a better way, so that they don't end up like mine. And he never intended to fall in love with this woman. So he does, and we'll say that he is Sashi's grandfather. And he manipulates his child while the child is in the womb, to be more human-like in features. So eventually, Hisashi is born, and he does the same thing, and he kind of like restricts the life. He kind of like lowers like the life expectancy goes from like 150 to 200 to like I would say 90 to 120. And then when you get to Asashi, his life expectancy would be like between 70 and 105, and potentially getting up to like 130 if he really took care of himself. And Hasashi is going to end up like disappearing, like for some reason, like he just disappears, like in my one what if. But in this, like, Izuku is going to be picked on because he has like the antennas, his skin's green, and he doesn't have as many fingers and toes as everyone else. Like, he has one less, and he's basically getting mocked and stuff in school. And he's going to be picked on just like in canon, but for different reasons. And at this point in his life, Izuku basically can only like produce like the only psionic abilities that he has is like he can create like a dagger with his psionic abilities, and he can create like a shield. Like the shield of like medieval times. He can kind of create like a buckler, and so everyone's like, oh, you have a quirk that turns you into a freak, and you have such a weak quirk and everything. And so he grows up getting picked on for this, for having like such a weak quirk, quote unquote quirk, and looking like a freak because he has like antenna. They call him the useless alien boy. And he basically gets picked on as hard as he would in canon. And so he grows up being the same Deku, like admiring All Might and everything. And everything's pretty much going to happen in canon like it does up until the second sludge monster attack, where Katsuki gets caught. So Izuku is like, after his conversation, is doing the same thing he was, and he just finds himself there, and his eyes meet with Katsuki's doing the same thing. But in this, he does have a quirk, but he was just told by his idol that he would never be a pro with such a weak quirk, because he hates to say it and like destroy this kid's thing. And a hero has to be able to first he has to be able to go up and protect himself and others to be able to be a pro. And with such a weak quirk, the best thing he probably could be is something like a police officer. So Izuku's like distraught, and he finds himself. He makes eye contact. It acts the same way, but the difference in this, he just creates his dagger and throws it at the sludge monster and hits him in the eye. And this does more damage, and it has another effect where like it basically paralyzes the sludge monster, and it's just basically frozen there. And he's sitting there trying to like pull like Katsuki out of this thing, and then he just creates like his small buckler, and it's like he's just digging into this thing and everything. And then eventually like the dagger like disappears, and like the sludge monster gets moving again. And this happens in a matter of seconds. And this has the same effect on All Might that he does like he would in canon. And so he offers his quirk to Izuku, thinking that it would increase like his abilities or anything, but it actually it does nothing for his psionic abilities really, besides basically taking his psionic dagger and turning it into like basically a katana, and his shield got got a little bit bigger. So basically, like, Izuku can manifest like a sword that can cause paralysis in anyone that he touches, or he can cause physical destruction, or he can cause a physical like physical damage on top of a nervous system shutdown. And it can, like, he can pretty much slice through almost anything with this. And Ellen's also will say that he made it to where his prodigies would like have more endurance than these, so that at least his species could like live on in like maybe another, like basically absorb into like another species and improve them a little bit. Like, he initially was planning on just like sociologically like evolving the species like over time, like using like the last 50 odd years or so of his life, like 30-40 years of his life, to like change the world. And then like he saved this earthling, and he fell in love with her, and that's how we got Izuku being like 12.5% alien. So he's a little bit stronger, and All Might says the same thing, meeting at the beach, and to All Might's surprise, like, Izuku gets the beach cleaned up, and All Might's like, you should be using your quirk, and Izuku's like, I'm not using my quirk. My quirk is just like, and he just like makes the dagger and like the shield, and he's like, this is just like what my quirk is. This is all I can do with my quirk. It's just I've always been a little strong for my age. And like it's not really like, they say that it's not a quirk, it's just like my physiology. Like, there's just something in my physiology that just makes me slightly stronger than everyone else. And they think it's probably like the mutation aspect of my quirk, along with like my skin color and these antennae. So All Might's like, okay, but like, it seems like you could, like, there's no reason for you to like continue training, because Izuku basically cleaned it up in a week. And so All Might passes his quirk on to Izuku. No, we'll say it takes him 2 months to clean the beach up, like, entirely, and All Might's just completely impressed. So that will give him 8 months to train Izuku on how to use One For All. And Izuku can't he doesn't really get it, but like he can't really use One For All too well, but like, it's boosted his psionic abilities to where his constructs last longer, and he can produce multiples at a time. So he can either produce the shield and the sword, or produce like 2 katanas. So All Might's like, well, if in any case, if something fails, like if he can't use One For All like to its 100% potential, and if like One For All fails him, at least he has his other abilities that will be boosted by One For All, and he can become a great hero, at least with his own quirk. And that the next successor he could train the next successor and like pass it on if he needs to, if he doesn't deal with that. So the story is going to this story will follow the canon as much as possible. So if you guys want me to continue this story, I can write a script out for a much I can like redo this and make like a 40-minute video for like the first part. So let me know in the comment section if you guys want to see this.